Chapter 17. The link between stocks and futures. Intermarket analysis. It has become clear that action in the futures markets can have an important influence on the stock market itself. Early warning signs of inflation and interest rate trends are usually spotted in the futures bits first, which often determine the direction stock prices will take at any given time. The stock market is divided into sectors and industry groups. Rotation into and out of those groups is often dictated by action in futures. Intermarket analysis. The basic premise of intermarket analysis is that all financial markets are linked in some way. That includes international markets as well as domestic ones. Program trading, the ultimate link. When the futures premium moves above its fair value to the cash index by some predetermined amount, an arbitrage trade is automatically activated called program buying. When the futures are too high relative to the cash index, program traders sell the futures contract and buy a basket of stocks in the S&P 500 to bring the two entities back into line. Program selling is just the opposite and occurs when the premium of the futures over the cash narrows too far below its fair value. In that case, program selling is activated, which results in the buying of S&P 500 futures and selling of the basket of stocks. Program selling is negative for the market. Most traders understand this relationship between the two related markets. Fig. S&P 500 futures normally trade at a premium to the cash index as shown in this chart. Notice that the premium narrows as the March contract nears expiration. Fig. S&P 500 futures normally trade at a premium to the cash index as shown in this chart. Notice that the premium narrows as the March contract nears expiration. Bonds and stocks. The stock market is influenced by the direction of interest rates. The direction of interest rates or yield can be monitored on a minute-to-minute basis by tracking the movements in the Treasury bond futures contract. Bond prices move in the opposite direction of interest rates or yields. Bond futures, in turn, are usually influenced by trends in the commodity markets. Asterisk. In a deflationary environment, bonds and stocks usually decouple. Bond prices rise while stock prices fall. Fig. Rising bond prices are usually good for stock prices. The bond market bottoms in 1981, 1984, 19,881,991 and 1995 led to major upturns in stocks. Bond peaks in 19,871,990 and 1994 warned of bad stock market years. The link between bonds and commodities. Treasury bond prices are influenced by expectations for inflation. As a result, commodity prices usually trend in the opposite direction of bond prices. Figure. Commodity prices and bond prices normally trend in opposite directions as shown here. The bond bottoms in the spring of 1996 and 1997 coincided with major peaks in commodity prices, see boxes. The link between commodities and the dollar. One of the commodities most affected by the dollar is the gold market. If you study their relationship over time, you'll see that the prices of gold and the US dollar usually trend in opposite directions. See figure 17.5. The gold market, in turn, usually acts as a leading indicator for other commodity markets. Fig. A rising dollar normally has a depressing effect on commodity markets. In 1980, the dollar bottom coincided with a major peak in commodities. The dollar bottom in 1995 contributed to a sharp decline in commodities a year later. Fig. The US dollar and gold prices usually trend in opposite directions as shown in this example. Gold prices, in turn, usually lead other commodities. Stock sectors and industry groups. The stock market is divided into market sectors which are then subdivided into industry groups. These market categories are influenced by what's happening on the intermarket scene. For example, when bonds are strong and commodities weak, interest rate sensitive stock groups such as the utilities, financial stocks, and consumer staples usually do well relative to the rest of the stock market. At the same time, inflation sensitive stock groups like gold, energy, and cyclical stocks usually underperform. When commodity markets are strong relative to bonds, the opposite is the case. By monitoring the relationship between treasury bond prices and commodity prices, you can determine which sectors or industry groups will do better at any given time. As a result, utility stocks can be used as leading indicators for treasury bonds. Gold mining shares can be used as leading indicators for gold prices. Another example of intermarket influence is the impact of the trend of oil prices on energy and airline stocks. Fig. There is usually very close linkage between bond prices and utilities. In addition, utilities often make their turns a little before bonds. The dollar and large caps. Another intermarket relationship involves how the dollar affects large and small cap stocks. Large multinational stocks can be negatively impacted by a very strong dollar, which may make their products too expensive in foreign markets. By contrast, the more domestically oriented small cap stocks are less affected by dollar movements and may actually do better than larger stocks in a strong dollar environment. As a result, a stronger dollar may favor smaller stocks, like those in the Russell 2000, while a weaker dollar may benefit the large multinationals, like those in the Dow Industrial Average. Relative strength analysis. This is an extremely simple but effective charting tool. All you do is divide one market entity by another, in other words, plot a ratio of two market prices. When the ratio line is rising, the numerator price is stronger than the denominator. When the ratio line is declining, the denominator market is stronger. Divide a commodity index, such as the CRB Futures Price Index, by Treasury Bond Futures Prices. See Figure 177. When the ratio line is rising, commodity prices are outperforming bonds. In that scenario, futures traders would be buying commodity markets and selling bonds. At the same time, stock traders would be buying inflation-sensitive stocks and selling interest rate-sensitive stocks. Fig. 7 HCR Index, Treasury Bond Ratio tell us which asset class is stronger. 1004 favored commodities, while 1005 lot bonds. The ratio took a sharp downturn in mid-1007 owing to the Asian crisis and fears of deflation. Figure during October 1997, the Asian crisis caused funds to flow out of cyclical and into consumer staples, which coincided with a falling CRB bond ratio in relative strength and sectors. The Chicago Board Options Exchange has the greatest selection and includes such diverse groups as automotive, computer software, environmental, gaming, real estate, healthcare, retail, and transportation. The American and Philadelphia stock exchanges offer popular index options on banks, gold, oil, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, technology, and utilities. You can then determine which are outperforming the overall market, a rising RS line, or underperforming, a falling RS line. Employing some simple charting tools like trend lines and moving averages on the relative strength lines themselves will help you spot important changes in their trend. See Figure 17.9. The general idea is to rotate your funds into those sectors of the market whose relative strength lines are just turning up, and to rotate out of those market groups whose relative strength lines are just turning down. Fig. A relative strength ratio comparison of the PSE High-Tech Index to the S&P 500. Simple trendline analysis helped spot the downturn in technology stocks during October 1997 and the upturn at year-end. Relative strength and individual stocks. Relative strength analysis plays a role here as well. Once the desired index has been chosen, the next step is to divide each of the individual stocks within the index by the index itself. In that way, you can easily spot the individual stocks that are showing the greatest relative strength. See Figure 17.10. You can purchase the stocks showing the strongest ratio lines, or you can buy a cheap stock whose ratio line may just be turning up. The idea, however, is to avoid stocks whose relative strength ratio lines are still falling. Top-down market approach. You begin by studying the major market averages to determine the trend of the overall market. Then you select those market sectors or industry groups that are showing the best relative strength. Then you select individual stocks within those groups that are also showing the best relative strength. By incorporating intermarket principles into your decision-making process, you can also determine whether the current market climate favors bonds, commodities, or stocks, which can play a role in your asset allocation decisions. Deflation scenario. During the second half of 1997, a severe downturn in Asian currency and stock markets was especially damaging to markets like copper, gold, and oil. For the first time in decades, some market observers expressed concern that a beneficial disinflation. For the first time in 4 years, investors were switching out of stocks and putting more money into bonds and rate-sensitive stock groups like utilities. The reason for that asset allocation adjustment is that deflation changes the intermarket scenario. The inverse relationship between bond prices and commodities is maintained. Commodities fall while bond prices rise. The difference is that the stock market can react negatively in that environment. The deflationary trend that started in Asia in mid-1997 spread to Russia and Latin America by mid-1998 and began to hurt all global equity markets. INTERMARKET correlation. Markets that trend in opposite directions, like bonds and commodities, are negatively correlated. A high positive reading suggests a strong positive correlation. A high negative reading suggests a strong negative correlation. A reading near zero suggests little or no correlation between two markets. The line along the bottom shows the positive correlation between T-bond prices and the S&P 500. During the second half of 1997, the Asian crisis caused an unusual decoupling. Investors bought bonds and sold stocks. He demonstrates, for example, how a moving average crossover system in the bond market can be used as a filter for stock index trading. Ruggiero explores the application of state-of-the-art artificial intelligence methods like chaos theory, fuzzy logic, and neural networks to the development of technical trading systems. He also explores the application of neural networks to the field of intermarket analysis. INTERMARKET neural network software. One major problem with the study of intermarket relationships is that there are so many of them and they're all interacting at the same time. That's where neural networks come into play. Louis Mendelson, President of Market Technologies Corporation, 25941 Apple Blossom Lane, Wesley Chapel, FL 33544, email address 45141@profitecker.com, website URL. Dot was the first person to develop intermarket analysis software in the financial industry during the 1980s. Conclusion. It discusses the ripple effect that flows from the dollar to commodities to bonds to stocks. Intermarket work also recognizes the existence of global linkages. What happens in Asia, Europe, and Latin America has an impact on US markets. And vice versa. Intermarket analysis sheds light on sector rotation within the stock market. Dr. Mo substantiates the intermarket rotation within the three asset classes and argues for their use in economic forecasting. In doing so, Dr. Mo elevates intermarket work and technical analysis in general into the realm of economic forecasting. Chart analysis can be done on mutual fund charts. You didn't have to be a chart expert to see that Asia was headed for trouble by tracking this mutual fund.